Well, hello, everyone. Um, my royal family, I welcome you to this segment of the Royal Nugget, and I'm your host, Sharon Harold, the retirement coach diva. I am excited to be here today because we're going to have some special guests online in a little bit. So just be patient and wait. They had some busy schedules. They're going to be online with us a little bit. But while we're waiting, let me tell you a little bit about them. We're going to have Tia and Corey Clarke, founders of Roman Clarke Wines, and they're going to tell us how they turn their passion and purpose into a legacy by building their wine business. And we're going to explore how their vision came to pass, how they are using their courage and creativity and pouring into everything that they do in order to build a legacy for their family. So make sure you stay online while we go through some things until they join us, because we're going to talk about and unpack wine before we even get to talk to them. Because when we get to talk to them, I want to make sure that you are going to be engaging. And I want you to engage now while we're waiting for them to arrive. So just make sure that you stay tuned and listen to what we all have to say, because it's going to be an exciting segment. So let's get started with a little bit. I want to get a little discussion in and make sure that you are engaging in the chat or in the comments if you're listening to the recording or wherever you are. And so we can talk more about wine and wine history. So, as we get ready to start to talk with Tia and Corey, we want to think about how long wine has actually been around, because we know that it goes back as far as biblical times, if not further. And I was thinking about, like, why back in biblical times did they use wine as something that they drank on a regular basis? And so I did some research and came up with a few things I wanted to share. And I also want you to comment. Before I get started, I know there's some people out there. Comment into the chat or the comment section, wherever you are, and tell us, what is it that you believe were the reasons why they use wine during biblical times, over 2,000 years ago. We know that it's recorded in the Bible that wine was a regular drink, wine and water. We don't hear about anything else. So tell us what you think were the reasons why. And I want to see some comments in the chat about why you think wine was used during biblical time. While I'm waiting for your comments, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. You already know I'm the retirement coach diva. But did you also know that I'm a federal benefits and retirement consultant and retirement lifestyle coach? What does that really mean? Well, I can help you to understand your federal benefits and entitlements if you're a federal employee, either former or current. I also help you to navigate and determine, like, what is it that you want to do in your next steps after you leave your career, whether it's federal or not, and what that lifestyle will look like. So make sure you connect with me, because I got some exciting things coming up in 2026. So make sure you stay tuned. Check out my website in a few weeks. All that information is going to be there. So since you all, are still thinking about why wine was used during biblical times, let me give you a little bit of information that I've found out. For one, clean drinking water wasn't easy to find back then. People usually would mix wine and water to kill some of the bacteria. So it helped to make water safe to drink, and wine was literally part of daily hydration, making sure that the water that they drank during biblical times did not contain any bacteria. So they would put a little bit of wine in the water, not a little bit of water in the wine, but a little wine in the water. All right. And so just tell me, what are some thoughts that you have ever had about something ordinary, simple, that takes you back to where it could be a nourishment for you. What is it that you have that you might have done in the past, something simple that's nourishing for you, whether it's physical or spiritual or psychological. Type into the chat if you're comfortable in sharing. What is something that's helped you to keep grounded during times of uncertainty, when you're dealing with things? What is something ordinary, simple that's helped you to keep grounded? I know with me, sometimes I have to just vent it out and say, hey, and talk to somebody and just get it out. That'll help me to kind of unpack it and think about those things that are going on within me. Also, prayer. Prayer will help me all the time, every time, to help and get things going. So another thing that we want to keep in mind about wine during biblical times is that it has natural sugars and calories, things that wine still may have. We'll find out about that when Corey and Tia join us. But during biblical times, it had natural sugars and calories that help sustain people. It wasn't about getting drunk. It was really about having energy and having nutrition in a simple diet. So families drank it daily. And I'm sure they put a little water in their wines for adults, but for children, they probably put a little wine in the water so it would not cause them to get any type of bacteria. And so I see T is for Mimi is that nature gardening. Yes, Coach Terry, I'm sorry I didn't see that at first. Nature gardening also helps. And yes, grapes have a lot of antioxidants. I love grapes. I used to really, really love green grapes, but as I got older, I prefer red grapes now. And sometimes it's hard to find some good grapes. I mean, even though you can find them all season or all year, they are really seasonal. So trying to find the best place to purchase some nice, crisp grapes that are just refreshing. I can sit and eat just a whole bag of grapes, just sit in the bed, be gone, boom, in no time. Also, it's spiritual, right? We know we're talking about wine in the Bible. So it's a spiritual meaning. Wine is also had deep symbolism. It represents joy, abundance, and God's blessing. And you see that in the Psalms where God talks about bring forth wine to gladden the heart. We also know about the first miracle that Jesus did was turning water into wine. It's a reminder of a celebration and faith that can flow together. And so they had wine during the Last Supper, when it's showing a representative of what? Wine represents in the Bible during the Last Supper, and we do this during communion. It represents the blood that Jesus sacrificed for us as he died on the cross. So when you think about your own life, what fills your cup? What moments of blessings make you pause to say thank you? Type that into the chat. Thank you for joining, Wendy, Coach Terry, all of you out there who maybe you haven't dropped anything into the chat yet. Join us in the discussion. Be part of the conversation, because we are here to talk with Tia and Corey Clarke of Roman Clarke Wines, and they are going to be with us shortly. But as we get ready for them to come online with us, we want to talk about, a little bit about wine history and where it comes from. So right now we're talking about how wine was important during biblical days. And another thing that happened, even now, it brings community. When you open up a bottle of wine, normally you will have some friends or family over, and you're going to share that wine with others. And so it meant sharing life. You're going to sit back and relax and celebrate. It's not about status, it's about connection. And we do that here on the Royal Nugget podcast every month. So in the chat or in the comments, tell me, who in your life do you want to slow down and reconnect with? Sometimes we get so busy with things. And I was thinking about that earlier and just talking to someone a few weeks ago about how I would say, I'll call you back, get having to get busy, or at the end of the conversation say, oh yeah, I say, yeah, let me call you back. And then I don't call them back. And it's not intentional that I don't call them back. It's just something that happens. Sometimes we get busy and then time goes by. Next thing you know, it's been a month, it's been 2 months. So, um, who do you want to reconnect with? And who would you want to just share a good laugh, a meal with, a bottle of wine? You know, say your sister, a couple of friends. Yes, there's always that time when you want to explore and sit and have some connection with family and friends. And also, we know that in biblical times during the Bible has taught us to have balance. And so we don't want to be one that overconsumes wine. And the Bible says wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging. Whoever is led astray is not wise. So we want to understand that wine was a gift to be enjoyed responsibly. And I'm not a big wine drinker. I'm going to tell you, if I'm going to drink wine, it has to be something that is 7% alcohol content or less, and it has to be sweet, which probably means I'm drinking juice. So, but that's how I am, and I'm a sipper. Like so, yes, everything in moderation. And so, and I see Wendy, yes, connected with your godmother. So, making sure that we are not being over consuming with wine, and just making sure that we're drinking it responsibly, like they always say, drinking wine responsibly. So, in what areas of your life could you use a little more balance right now? Where can you enjoy the blessings but still stay grounded? Where can you enjoy the blessings and still stay grounded? That's a deep question. Like, I would think that enjoying my blessings, I would still be grounded. But how can I take that and say, where can I enjoy the blessings and still stay grounded? That's a good question. That's a good question. Make sure you put that, think about that and put your comments in the chat. Well, we know that globally, wine is a huge industry. It's about 400,000, my bad, $400 billion industry. And the United States is both the largest consumer and producer of wines. So we know that wine doesn't just magically get in the bottle. It has to be grown, the grapes and things on the farms. There's a lot of chemistry that goes into winemaking. It's art, there's marketing, all these things. And every sip connects to the soil and the story behind it and the soul of those that are making it. So, have you ever thought about what stories are behind the labels of your favorite wine bottles? I want you to type into the chat your favorite wine. Your favorite wine, whatever the type is, and don't get me get started because I don't know nothing about wine types. So, whatever your favorite wine is, type that into the chat. Type, whatever you like to celebrate with, whether you're by yourself or with others. I know sometimes people like to just come home, take out their favorite bottle of wine, and just drink it, sip it by yourself. You might add a little bit to it. If I'm gonna drink something, then I usually have to add something to it. So, like I had some sangria, and then I added some Sprite to it or some ginger ale. That was good for me because it cut it down. I like sangria because it's sweet, and if it has fruit in it and things, I really like to. I'll drink that. But again, I'm a sipper, so it's not. It's going to last me a good little while. Um, there's something that I love, and there's growing a movement of Black-owned and minority-owned wine brands, and it's rewriting the story of the industry. And so, as we talk with Tia and Corey this evening, we're going to learn how they got into this industry, what made them decide to start their own wine label and create their own wines and move forward with this with the passion and purpose that they have. I can't wait for them to join on so they can really share everything that's behind it because I know just a little bit, but I can't wait to hear them share. So Coach Terry says, not sweet, but not too dry white wine. Um, I used to love Merlot, but my tastes have changed. Yeah, I think, over time, our taste changed, our tolerance changed. When we were younger, you might have been able to consume more wine, but as you get older, our body may not be able to tolerate it. You may, have medical conditions and may not, or you just decided, hey, I'm not going to be drinking as much wine as I used to. Um, we know that wine is a big business. I just mentioned $400 billion business worldwide, and the U.S. is the leading producer and consumer of wines. I know where I am in the D.C. metropolitan area, there are several wineries in this area, and that you can go and relax. One up near Frederick, Maryland, or Mount Airy that I've gone to a couple of times. They have wine festivals there. Brandywine, Waldorf. There are vineyards there. So find a local vineyard where you can go year round and maybe go indoors and have some wine or go outdoors and sit. There are wine clubs, and Corey and Tia have a wine club that you can be a part of as well, and just enjoy being a part of something. Yet Wendy said red wines. Wendy, I used to be like, I don't like red wines, but I'm starting to learn that there are some sweet red wines. I prefer red sangria versus white sangria. So it just depends on your taste. And I'm like, Coach Terry, I don't like dry wines. That's why I say I like sweet. So, and that's probably because I have a terrible sweet tooth. So wines, wines have to be sweet for me. Like I say, I'm drinking juice more or less because if it's 7% or less, then it's really not a whole lot of alcohol content. But making wine is, like I said, it's a business and it's a rigorous business. You have to make sure that you are connecting with the right vineyard. If you're not growing those grapes yourself and manufacturing things, you have to go through licensing and bottling equipment and have patience, as with any business, to help it grow. Be out there to get your name out there and be a part of different events so you can promote yourself. It's not an easy industry to get into, and as I mentioned, there are more Black-owned and minority-owned wine labels and wine owners getting out there. Yes, Coach Terry, Kool-Aid. That's basically what I'm drinking, Kool-Aid. But we got to make sure that we are supporting those Black-owned, minority-owned businesses with our dollars so they can continue to thrive and be as big as any other labels that you see out there. So it's all about the hustle. It used to be like we used to hear it's a side hustle, my side hustle. No, it's a business. It's not a hustle, but you have to hustle and build in your business. It's not a time to just sit back and relax and say, oh, it's going to build itself. I'm going to show up to a couple events or I'm going to just be online here and there. It is a regular business, just like you would work a regular job. It is a regular business. And they say you build your business, your lifestyle from 5 to 9, where you have a job from 9 to 5. So you want to make sure that we show the respect to anyone that is building their business, as it's not a side hustle, it is a business. And it takes a while before people actually catch on and say, hey, I know who that is, or let me recommend this to you. So as Tia and Corey prepare to come on, they're going to tell you more about how they are out there building their business and holding down jobs and raising two beautiful children all at the same time. And so I want you to tell me, have you ever taken a leap into something new, not fully knowing the outcome, but trusting your vision anyway? Because it is about building your vision, taking your passion and purpose and taking it, making it a vision, and just feeling secure to say, hey, I'm going to go out here and do it anyway. Type in the chat how many of you have decided to just take a leap of faith and just go on and build your business, go after your passion, whatever your purpose is, to build that till you get to the next level of the things that you want to do and be able to enjoy those things. I mean, I know that I have over the past several months, I've been able to work more on what I enjoy doing, and my calendar is much fuller than it was even when I was working. So now that I'm still working, but I'm working on my business instead of having a regular 9 to 5 job, I have found more fulfillment, been able to make more connections, and be able to reimagine everything about life. So share in the chat about how you might be reimagining everything about life and moving towards your passion and purpose. And it could be just small steps. Maybe it's just creating the business and getting the LLC, or doing the EIN. Maybe it's going to an event and networking and trying to connect with people. Maybe it's taking a class and saying, hey, I'm going to take this information and start building myself up so I can do more. Or maybe it's just the change of that mindset, or maybe it's just saying, hey, today is the day that I'm going to start to do something different. Whatever it is, just put in the chat. You can do a thumbs up, hey, saying, hey, that's me, that's me, that's me, or type in, that's me, saying that, yes, you have decided to take a leap of faith and start to build your business, start to move toward your passion. It could be a for-profit, a non-profit, whatever it is, to move forward to that. And also, continue talking about wine. Now I'm going back to the wine. It builds culture, connection, and celebration. We talked about that, how in the biblical times it was used for connection. We know it was used during celebration as well as during the daily living for them. And it's a beautiful part of celebration when people bring out a bottle of wine to share with each other. Then you just start relaxing, as I mentioned before, and just being able to do those things that you probably didn't think about, being able to share with it. And yes, Coach Terry, a successful coaching business that allows for community building and advocacy. Yes, I know Coach Terry's out there doing her thing. Community. We're going to learn more about that next month. But for now, it's about Tia and Corey. So Tia and Corey, like many other entrepreneurs, have started their brand with spirit, with vision, with passion that bring people together. And when they share their story, when they come online, you will learn more about how that all aligns with what they're going to do and how they're going to move forward and building a legacy. I am big on legacy building. I love, love, love when I hear about people trying to build a legacy, because it's not about the money. To me, building a legacy is not about the money. It's about leaving your family with connection, leaving your family with values, being able for your grandchildren, great grandchildren to say, hey, grandma, granddaddy, pop, nana, whatever you called, say, I remember when they shared this story with me that changed my life. I remember when I used to think what they were doing was irrelevant, but look at where we are now. I remember when I was told about these things happening in our family. I remember when this was a generational curse, but we changed it into a blessing. That is about legacy. It's not the financial things that we always have to look for to leave for our family. What we leave a legacy is things that they can pass on, those intangible nuggets that help build them spiritually, psychologically, in order for them to be the best person that they could be. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that in mind. What are some things that you want to leave as a legacy to your family? What nugget would you like them to remember you about? Drop that into the chat. What nugget would you like your family to remember about you as a legacy builder? I'll share one thing with you all. A few years when my brother passed away, you know, that was the last of what I call my um, intimate family, I'll just say, or the core, the ones that I grew up, who've known me from childhood. My parents were gone, my siblings were gone. So what I decided to do was make a book, just buying a 3-ring binder and some sleeve protectors, and I made copies of pictures, and I put those in the 3-ring binder, and I made one for each one of my children and my niece and my nephew. And so I left additional space for them to add things to it. I put in pictures of my grandparents. I put pictures of my aunts and uncles. I put in copies of obituaries from my parents and my sister and my brothers. Why did I put those obituary or their programs from their homegoing service? Because it had their life story written down. My children, they didn't know my mom really because my mother was ill, but they knew my dad, at least my older children did. So being able to have in writing information, about their grandmother, having pictures about their great grandparents and their great aunts and uncles, and showing that connection. Where did they come from? That they are the children of and have siblings, and that they have aunts and uncles that did these things. I didn't even go into, like the family on each side, like really far back, but I was able to share enough that they can say, okay, this is what I know. This is where I come from. These are this is where my grandfather came from, my great grandfather came from, and being able to have them share it with their children and keep it passing down. I didn't want to do anything electronic because things get lost in electronics. We have so many pictures on our phones that we sometimes, get lost. We forget that they're there. And then I know for me, I might download the same picture multiple times and then go back and say, oh, I have this picture 3 or 4 times in my phone. I didn't even realize it. But when you have it in paper, something hard that you can just pass on to the next person, and it lets them pause for a moment to read and take that in. And then they're able to go back and reflect on it and say, hey, let me show this with you. Let me show this. I just keep adding things to mine, and hopefully my children are adding things to theirs, and I need to go back to them to see if they've added things. I still need to add things because I just recently had a new grandson, and I need to add his picture and his information to this legacy, and just continue to build. I mean, think about a time where you wanted to leave something. What is it that you want to leave as a legacy? Drop that in the chat for us to learn more about you. And I am expecting Tia and Corey to join any second now. I can't wait for them to come online with us. And I thank you for staying while we're waiting for them to come online, because they're going to have their great story to share. And I want to just see if I can put this bottle up here real close I'm probably gonna have to take my background off, but they bottle their wine, and I'm sure you saw it in the advertisement of the picture of today's session. So make sure that you join their um, their wine club. Make sure that you go online and be able to see, all the things that they are offering. Like I mentioned, they have their wine club. There are different events around town. I don't want to spoil too much because I know they're going to be sharing everything. Oh, you said put it in front of my face. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here in front of my face. There you go. Here is their wine. This is one of their wines. Try to put it up close so you can kind of see. This is one of their wines. They have several wines. This is the one that I like, but they have several wines. So make sure that you're going to their website. I'm going to share that information right now so you all can see where you can go to learn more about Roman Clarke Wines and sign up for their newsletter and be able to see where they're going and where they will be. So hopefully, I need y'all to come on, Tia and Corey. They should be here any minute, any second. They should be joining us. I can't wait to talk to them because they have such a wonderful story to share. They have such a wonderful story to share about their wine and being able to just grow their business and take it to another level. And like I said, to build their legacy. They are a beautiful couple, known them for several years, um, have two wonderful children, and they're going to just share some great information about their wines. So I know I saw a couple of people drop into the chat the type of wine that they like. Also, I mean, I want to hear more. Like, what are the wines? Or what? It doesn't have to be a wine, right? Maybe you're not a wine drinker, but you wanted to come and hear more about Tia and Corey. So, what's your go-to drink? What's your favorite go-to drink? Like, I'm not a big wine drinker. As I said, I'm basically drinking juice, the type of wine that I like. But there's drinks that I prefer, like water. I drink water a lot, but also I like, orange juice, or maybe every once in a while I'll have a soda. Um, I used to drink, what were those drinks back in the day that we used to drink? Wine coolers, which again is almost like juice. Or maybe you like a cocktail. Drop in the chat. What type of beverage do you like to drink? What's your go-to beverage? And we're going to have our guest on here. And what's a question? Drop in the chat also, like a question that you have for our guests. What is something that you would want to ask them when they come online? Because this is going to be a conversation. I tell you all every session, this is going to be a conversation between me, you, and our guests. And I don't want to be the one that is asking all the questions. So drop in the chat. What is it that you want to ask? What is on your mind about, hey, Roman Clarke Wines? Go to their website, check it out, and then come back with a question that you might have. What made you start this? What's your background with wines? What other type of wines are you going to expand to? Join us so we can learn more about Roman Clarke Wines. So make sure that you come on and put into the chat some questions that you might want to ask so I can read them out loud, because that's what I'll be doing. Put into the chat the questions that you have for our guests this evening. And they will be with us shortly. I'm expecting them to log in and be with us any minute. Any minute. Any minute. You say, Sharon, you keep saying any minute because it will be any minute. They're going to pop up and it's going to be right on time. But I'm still waiting for you all to help be engaging. I'm still waiting for you all to drop into the chat the questions that you have for Tia and Corey this evening, so they can be able to share their journey, um, with us, and be able to, get things started. So I know Tia is joining us, and Tia is I think Corey helps Tia, and Tia is the head of this. So we may not have both of them, but we know that we'll have Tia joining us any minute to come in and share about, Roman Clarke Wines. Like, what's the name? Where's the name come from? Roman Clarke. That's a interesting story behind that name, and what all they plan on doing. Yeah, I see a couple of questions in the chat, so I appreciate that. Come on. Again, this is a discussion. It's not a conversation between me and the guest. That's why I do it live, because I want to be able to engage with everyone that's online, and I want our guests to be engaging with everyone that's online. So um, here we are. Here we are. Hello, Tia.
Hello. This light is that's a bit much. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yay! Yes, we can hear you. We
Okay,
can hear
perfect.
you, and we
Perfect.
have people online. Just we have been waiting anxiously,
I'm so
probably
sorry.
tired of me
I am
talking.
so sorry. I am late. So sorry.
That's okay. We know that you are busy. I've been telling them about your
Parenting
beautiful
duties.
children. Yes, but thank you for joining. Again, this is Tia from Roman Clarke Wines,
Hello,
and
hello, hello.
so
Let me
Tia.
move over.
Yeah, so again, thank you for joining this evening. And
Hmm.
so, just as I do with all my guests, I want to just ask about you. Tell us about you, Corey, and how you all got started with Roman Clarke Wines.
And he may jump in move all our stuff here. At some point, we both just got into the house. So but we got into Roman Clarke Wines. For me, it's always been a passion of mine. Before well, I enjoy wine. Let me say that. We both do. And it has been a passion of mine, and a dream to have my own brand. And I used to say that well before this was even a thought. But we both enjoy, tasting new wines. I enjoy learning about wines. I always thought wines were elegant and had its own world, and that sparked from me being in New Orleans, which is where I'm from. I now reside in Maryland, but I'm originally from New Orleans, and going to dinner with my mom. We would go out to eat a lot. She loved to go out to eat. And I would always see people drinking wine. I always thought it was really, really fancy. It had its own menu, so it felt like its own world. Just something that I wanted to be a part of. And so I tried to start drinking like red wines because I always thought red wine looked so fancy in a glass. Didn't quite work. I was a little younger then. My palate was not as mature as it is now. So I went for sweeter wines. I think a lot of us do initially. And as my palate evolved, I was intrigued by the different varietals. There's so many. And Corey and I both just enjoy, tasting and learning about new wines, flavor profiles. And so, yeah, so I lost my mom in 2020, and I heard you talking about earlier when I was driving that, living in your passion. And so that was something that, I wanted to do more of and live a more fulfilling life after, you lose someone close to you. It really helps you to see just how short life is, how valuable life is. And so that's how Roman Clarke Wines got started. And then it's been Corey. Then it's named after our son. I say it's a legacy brand because my mom was an entrepreneur in her own right, and then it's named after our son. So we hope it will be enjoyed for generations to come. He actually was his idea to name it Roman Clarke Wines. I wanted something else. I didn't want to put our child's name on it, but here we are, and everybody think it's a great name. So I guess we chose right.
Yes, yes. I actually thought it probably might have been your maiden name and then his name, you put it together, but he told me it was, named after his son. And
Yeah.
after some, I would say market research, we found out that it was a great fit. And so it really is. And I do want to say I'm sorry for your loss of your
Oh,
mom
thank you.
a few years ago. But I'm glad you shared, about how you took that spirit of entrepreneurship from her and
Yes.
started building the legacy, which I talked about legacy while we
Hmm.
were waiting for you, to build the legacy for your family. So
Hmm.
before you get more into the wine, I wanted to ask you, what is it about legacy that's important for you in order, to carry that on?
Well, I think for me, especially once we had kids and we have, older daughter, so she and I have children's books that we've written together and published a series of children's books, but um, it was more for me leaving something for them, but also showing them, you can follow your dreams. You can do, pretty much whatever you put your mind to. I know that's a cliche statement. A lot of people say that, they don't always live it, but I wanted to show them something different. I feel like my mom showed that to me with her entrepreneurship journey. And so it stuck with me. Like, I'm an entrepreneur now. This is not my only business. I have two other businesses currently, and then I, have had businesses in the past. So I know kids mimic. They see you doing things, so I wanted to have something that we could leave that they could be proud of. But then also, I heard you saying earlier, just showing them like, like this, they might not ever thought about this, or you may not even realize that they're paying attention. But even now when they play, sometimes they'll play as if they're taking wine inventory, they're watching. So
Right.
I wanted to leave them something they could be proud of. Still trying to get it to, point where, it's scalable, but we'll get there. And I don't know. I just, when I had like our daughter, for me, I just was like, I want something better for her. I don't want her to have to, go out work a job just to pay her bills, like a lot of us in college, and that's just what we did, and once we got out and you're paying back loans. I want something different for them. I want them to have a choice. I want them to be able to fulfill their passions earlier in life, and not have to wait until I'm dead and gone. Hopefully, like I did. I mean, that's what it is. That was my reality. But I'm hoping that, they will have that choice. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm hoping. I am building this legacy to give them that. And that was the driving factor for me in creating a legacy. And it's a biblical thing. I'm a spiritual person. You leave for your children, your children's children. So I'm hoping to, now I didn't learn that, coming up, and I'm just trying to change that, with my generation and moving forward.
I'm gonna say that even though you weren't online when I was talking earlier, you are still saying some of the things I said. I talked about like the history of wine and how we hear
Hmm.
about it in the Bible and the reasons why
Yes.
they used wine so much in the Bible. Which one thing I didn't know is that they used it to kill bacteria in the water to make it safer to drink. And
Yeah.
I knew it was one of the things that was mostly around. So we knew that they would either drinking water or wine, one of the
Yep.
two.
It was the
You
very
know,
first miracle by
yes,
Jesus. It was, yeah. So it's not by happenstance, that I'm here in this space. It's more, like I just was telling someone recently, this is my ministry. God just
mm,
chose me to use wine as my ministry. And yeah, so that's where I am.
awesome, awesome. So we have quite a few questions in the chat, and I want to just ask people,
Okay.
hang on because we're going to go as long as we can with Corey and Tia this evening, and answer these questions as well as learn more about their wine. So before we go any further and I get any questions, please tell our listeners, either those now and those who will listen in the future, how they can get in touch with you if they want to, like, contact besides the website. How else can they get in touch with you?
So we do have, well, as you said, the website. You can email us through the website. There is a contact us page. We do see those emails. So we do have someone that helps to manage that, but we see them. So that is, a lot of people have contacted us that way just because, it was easier for them. But aside from that, we are on social media, and if you reach out, just give me a second, I'll get to it.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I
Sometimes
know.
it takes a while, but we are Roman Clarke Wines. That's Clarke with an E, Wines with an S, all one word together on social media platforms. So Instagram and Facebook as well as TikTok. So I do read those messages. People always ask me, like, do you manage the account? I do have people that help me with that, but I do read the messages. And if they don't, they read the messages sometimes, but if they see it and they know it's something I need to see, then they will alert me to read it. But I do try to read it. It's just sometimes I get behind, so I have to play catch up. But that is a good way as well, in addition to, and then we have, our email, which is the same as from our website, info@romanclarkewines.com. So that's another way, info@romanclarkewines. If you want to reach out to us, we get that as well.
Okay, awesome. And I do want to put a plug in for you all. Y'all did a great job at my retirement party
Oh,
that
yeah.
I had. You all have the wine
Percy,
there,
yeah.
and been able to, people will be able to taste the wines and purchase wine
Yeah.
while they were
Yes.
there. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
really appreciate that. That was a
Yeah, thank
great
you.
thing.
And we appreciate you for having us and thinking of us, there, and just getting us more exposure to, more people to know that we're here, what we have to offer. We truly appreciate that.
Yes, yes. So let me get to the questions that we have. So our first question says, "What happened at the very moment you and Corey decided to go for it? What was the yes moment?"
Um, it took a minute. I'm gonna be honest. For me, Corey he can hear you guys. He's trying to get food for the kids right now and get them settled. But he kind of, if it makes sense, like when I bring it to him, then he'll kind of go with it. Let me just say that. That's more him. For me, it had to knock me over my head. So it took me 2 years after losing my mom. I'll be honest, I went through grief therapy, and I I kept just trying to figure out, what I was going to do next. And I'm not telling nobody to leave a corporate job, but my corporate job, it hadn't been fulfilling for me for years prior. So I took time off, just to kind of go through the steps of grieving, but then also figure out what it was I truly wanted to do, what was my calling. And that took a minute, honestly. And I went through a bunch of things and I ran from it. God kept giving me this, and I ran from it for 2 years. And then when I decided, okay, this is it, I think the yes moment for me, well, I actually initially didn't. As I said, I'm from New Orleans. When my mom passed, my mom lived in New Orleans. She still lived in New Orleans as well as a lot of my family. When I went there, when she initially got sick, 2 months prior, there was a tasting room of a Black female owned brand there in New Orleans. And I wanted to go, but my mom was in and out of the hospital, so I couldn't quite plan it out. So I didn't worry about it. When she passed, I took 10 of my cousins there. And that the owner started a mentorship program. So I actually said to God, if this is what you want me to do, then you're gonna have to bring someone into my life to help me, because I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to get started. I just know I like wine. I know a little bit about wine. So I got an email basically saying that she was starting this program. And that wasn't the yes moment for me. I'll be honest. I spoke to her, like how to get started, what does this entail, and I still was like, no, I don't know. And then I got another email, and then I was finally like, all right, like I'm gonna do this. I don't know, something just shifted, and it was just like, it's now or never. If I think when it's time, it's time. It's time. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but
Right.
you commit to it. And so for me, it was that moment where I committed. I think she might have sent out another email, and I was like, all right, like, okay, well, maybe I'll do the, and I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And I spoke to her again, and that solidified it for me. So it was, prayer is what it was. And God knocking me over the head and sending someone, at the same time. And I can't speak for Corey, but Corey usually, like, when I come to him with something, if he don't see it, he's no. And but then he usually okay, he'll usually okay. He might think in his head like, she gonna do that? I don't know, but he went along with it. And I think once he started seeing, things come to fruition, now he's on board. So
Yes, I see. I saw him out at one of the events a few months ago.
hmm
Promoting and marketing the wine, and everybody, like, as soon as everybody, he's like, try it, and they taste it, they were buying it. So
yeah,
he does a
yeah.
great job.
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
Yes.
So yeah, if we get people to taste it, it's usually and he doesn't give himself enough credit, but he does do a great job with getting people to buy. So yeah, he's on
He
board.
sure did. He sure did. So you mentioned about how it's not easy, and that kind of segued into our next question, where it says, "What are the main challenges, and did you anticipate those challenges?"
The main challenges is licensing, our licensing, and getting all of the proper licensing permits, things you need. One, just to be able to sell to retailers, because selling to retailers is one thing, selling direct to consumers is another thing.
Mm.
Um, Especially in Maryland. So that was the most, and still is the most challenging. I'm fighting right now with the state on some things with that. But yes, that was the most challenging. I did not anticipate it to be, because I didn't really know what to expect, I'll be
Mm.
honest. And even I'm a person that I will step out on faith and do something and then get all the legality parts later. Not recommending that, but um, I realize now that certain things need to be in place before doing, even when it comes to making your own. We import, we make a wine, but making your own, like, certain, there's different things that I needed for that. I didn't anticipate that, I'll be honest. So I would say, if it's somebody that's interested, if that's why you're asking this question, make sure you do your research, and know. And it's kind of hard because it's all of the information is not out there, and it
Mm.
varies from state to state. So like, even now, like, I'm forever learning the laws. Even here in Maryland, I'm still learning, the laws and the different things that we can and can't do, trying to work, with the governing authority over us, that, the Alcohol Commission, to make sure we are where we need to be. But no, I did not anticipate that. And it can be a challenge. I think everyone, some people, I will say, they, may have it a little bit easier. Some people have help with that. I did a lot of it on my own, so that could have been, a reason why it was more challenging for me. I didn't have, like, compliance people in place, or that I hired to do it. But I also learn well too in doing it on my own, because
Mhm.
then it allows me to know what I need to know.
Right.
And maybe going forward, I may hire some help with that, but at least I know now.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
say that.
Yes. So you mentioned Maryland. What other states do you sell in?
So we sell in 40 states. I'm not gonna quote them all, but if you go to the website, right now we are not in Virginia. We are working on that. So Virginia, you need there like a license there or a certain permit there. And there are some states, we still have 10 states we will work on, let me say that. We're either in a process or we will work on getting there. But each state, as I said, is different. Some of them you have to have a license for that state, whereas others you can get approval, to just sell to the state where we can ship, to the state, excuse me, or even just selling even to wholesalers. You some states do require certain licensing, so we do ship to 40 states, Maryland being one of them. We do ship in this state, but they're on the website. If you go to the website, you go to the wines page, you can see the states there that we ship to.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next question is, who was your main support system during this process?
Ooh. um Definitely Corey.
Mhm.
Because we, have to tag team when it comes to family, balancing. Sometimes I can't give, all to the kids and him because of, the business. So I would say him. And it's a toss up between him. Well, I would say him and then my cousin. I have a cousin, Courtney. And I'm saying her name because if she's listening, I want her to know because I appreciate her. She saw the vision. She believes in my vision just as much as Corey does. She helps with our kids. She helps at events. We divided and conquered, and
Oh,
she's done some events. She might complain sometimes, but and even financially she has helped, and she has said to me, I see your vision, and I know that, this is going to do well. I know what it is you're trying to do. So moments when I question, is this really what I'm supposed to, she pushes me. So I do appreciate that. And it's key to have that because in business you can question yourself every single day. Some days it is every day when I'm like, God, why me? And you sure this is, what I'm supposed to be doing? But it's good to have, a support system to say, okay, do this. Okay, no, don't worry about that. Do that, or it's all right. It will work itself out. Sometimes you need that nudge and that encouragement. So the support system is key. Yeah.
yes, definitely, definitely. So tell us, what are your most popular wine?
So the most popular one, we have two, but the biggest seller is our semi-sweet rosé Malbec. And
That's the one
unfortunately,
I
yes.
had.
Unfortunately, we're out of it right now, which is the pain. I am waiting on more from Argentina, and trust me, I am working tirelessly to try to get it here for the holidays. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful. Need y'all prayers and everything else because it is our biggest seller.
Hmm.
Um, People like it. It's what I call our bridge wine. So it is 100% Malbec, and it's most people know Malbec as I poured a glass. I haven't drank it yet. Most
Okay.
people know it as a red wine, and that's what I have here. It is a red grape. However, it's very deep purple. The grape itself. But that wine, typically in red wines, when you crush them and you start to process, you keep them with the pulp, the inside of the grape, with the skins to get this reddish color or purplish color. But
Mm.
with that wine, they just take the pulp. And so it gives its rosé is just the color. It's the method they use, either skin contact, no skin contact, or less skin contact to give it the rosé color, but it's naturally sweetened by the grape. There's no added sugar. So it is semi sweet. People like it that like sweet wines, and people like it that like dry wines. Yes.
I'm a
So
sweet wine. I am
yes.
a sweet wine. And so,
So that's, and
yeah.
it's not super sweet, but it's not dry.
Hmm.
And it's like I said, all natural. So you can drink it, no headaches, because you don't have all the additives. Argentina can't add sugar to their wine. They can't add a lot of additives that we can unfortunately add here in the US. So it's a more natural, gluten-free, vegan, all the things. But it is very good, and it's, as I said, it's not too sweet, it's not dry, so we get both sides that like it. So I think that's why, it works well, and it's our biggest seller.
Yes, because when at my party I was so busy that I really
Yeah.
didn't get the opportunity to have any wine. Like I tasted one of them, but I can't tell you which one it was. And
Right.
someone gave me a little taste of something. So when I saw Corey that day, and I said, I don't really like semi-sweet. And I told you, I think when we had our conversation, I was like, I like sweet wines, and Corey was like, well, just
Mm-hmm.
taste this. And when I tasted, I was like, okay, I like this one. I'm gonna get this
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
I'm,
that happens a lot.
yeah, and that's what were
Yeah.
happening when people were there at the location he was at. He had them taste. As soon as they tasted, they were like, "Where can I get it?" He was like, "Right
Yeah.
around there on the shelf. I'll go get it for you." And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, he did a great job with that. And so, I'm sure that as the holidays are coming up, people will be reaching out to you because one of the questions here is, do you have a subscription? Can people get a
Yeah.
wine subscription?
Yes, we do. We have a wine club. If you go to the website, romanclarkwines.com, you can sign up for our wine club. We have three different tiers of the wine club. Um, so you can do, we just changed like the naming of it, but it's two wines, and it's quarterly. It's not every month, it's quarterly. We do two, four, or five wines. So you can
Mm,
pick, whichever quantity you want and then you would get that quarterly. We usually curate and select, the wines, but you do have the option. We send emails out beforehand. You're allowed to change that selection. Any new releases that we come out with, that will be exclusive to our wine club members first. So they will be able to taste first. They will be able to get that wine first. And then we do have other perks that, are with that. We give gifts. We did our third quarter release, and people got shirts. People are always asking about our shirts, so they got shirts. We've done glasses, different things, most of which you can't buy on our website, at least not now. Eventually, maybe we'll sell, certain merchandise and things like that, but exclusive to them, the wine club members. And then I also curated this last, so we usually put something in there to make it a little fun, interactive, exclusive. You get a discount as well on wines all year round. And then last time we had a playlist to go with, I believe it was the Malbec that we did it with, because now we're changing over into seasons, and into fall winter season. Malbec is a little bit, I'm gonna say heavier. It's not super super heavy, not ours at least, but it slows you down. So we had a playlist that I curated that I thought went very well with the Malbec, and we sent QR codes for that. So yeah, we do. Check it out, and hopefully you join. We love
awesome.
that.
Awesome, awesome. So I know you said that on the website it lists all the states. I
Yeah.
was wondering, are there any states outside of Maryland where you are selling them in any retail stores?
Not yet. Not yet. We're working on it. Well, we have one in California. I'll say that. It's actually a black-owned wine bar in Napa, but we are working on, so to get into retail in other states as well, but
Okay,
not
so
yet. Yes, not yet.
okay, great. So um, anyone who's listening will be able to go to your website, find their state, and see if it's located, if you all ship there, and then
Yes.
you'll be able to have it shipped to them.
Yes, and we also have retailers on the website, as well as, we expand, we will update that list.
Awesome, awesome. So our next question is, what is the bigger vision for Roman Clark Wines that people don't see yet? I like that question.
I know that's a good question. Okay. The bigger vision for Roman Clarke Wines initially is to grow nationally and then internationally.
All right.
We currently import from Argentina for wines. We make a local wine. We hope to branch off, import from other places, not just Argentina. And okay, cool. What did you? Okay. Uh, okay. He wants me to say. I don't know why he is helping with the kids though right now. Winning more awards. That's the thing. So we have one.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. It's over here. Our VNA, the local one, won with U.S. wine ratings. We won, I think the sticker's here, 90 points. So we won gold, top in its class, above all others. And this is our VNA, but so it was top in the VNA category. But we hope to win more awards with the wines, nationally as well as internationally. We have had some different ratings or organizations reach out, for international judging. So eventually, so yes, we will. We hope to win more awards. We do hope to produce some more wines, to win more awards as well, because this is our locally produced. This is the one that we made. This is our baby. Not to say the others, because I enjoyed them all. However, this one, it's a little bit more special because we actually made that here. So yeah, I'm hoping, and then expand the collection. I won't say so much that that will be all that we have and then adding more, but at least adding other varietals, to our portfolio as well. We did some testing this summer on some other varietals
Mhm.
that went very, very well. To the point where I could not test that anymore because people were like, they were mad that I wasn't selling it. So, so expanding, beyond just what we have also.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, tell us, what wines do you have now? What type of wines?
So right now we have three. We have the Malbec, which is one of our reds. That's from Argentina. From Argentina as well, we have our sparkling rosé. The
Mhm.
sparkling rosé, it's a sparkling wine, so you get the bubbles. It's a lot of bubbles. It's more fruit forward. A lot of people may say they don't like rosés because it's dry. This one is a little bit more fruit forward, so it has a hint of sweetness,
Mhm.
and it is 80% Malbec, because that's another Argentina wine, and then 20% Bonarda, another red grape varietal. Very, very refreshing, easily drinkable. A lot of people like that. That's our second biggest seller. So next to the semi-sweet rosé Malbec, the sparkling rosé, and this year it has been a hit. All summer, wherever we brought it, we kind of had to ration out the amounts that we brought so that we could have more inventory. But we sold out everywhere we went. So we have that. And then the other one is our Viognier. So the local one that I just showed you, this is a white wine. It's a white blend actually, but it's mostly Viognier, which is why we can just say it's, call it Viognier. It's Viognier, a little bit of Chardonnay, and a little bit Petit Manseng, which is just two other white grape varietals as well. So we have those three that are in stock currently.
Okay, awesome. And so you mentioned about you get some wine from Argentina. And so can you explain like how you choose the wines that you have that you're selling?
Sure. So with me, initially I worked with the initial mentor I mentioned previously, in New Orleans, and she had sent me some wines that I, tasted. I did like a focus group. We tasted, I don't know, it was probably about 10 wines or so. And then I had reached out to some vineyards in California. All of those were US based wines. And She kind of had some things going on with her business, but not only that, I had already selected the wines that I was going to use that were U.S. based. However, I just so happened to meet an importer, which is who I work with now, to import the wines from Argentina. Um, and I don't know. I just like them a little bit better than what I selected. But I also just I like, because a lot of people ask me, why did I choose Argentina? That's not to say that we will always only have Argentina, but we started with that because that was the opportunity I had. There were I think maybe one or two other countries that he imported from. However, Argentina is one country where, as I said before, sugar can't be added, additional additives can't be added. So that to me was really good. I like that because you really see how the grape shines. You have to process it properly to really get the flavors the way you want. We have the semi-sweet, we have some drier, and the semi-sweet wine is the same grape as this red Malbec, but it's a dry, just a difference. Same grape, 100% of that grape. So I like that I could show the complexity of what the grape can do with the wines. But that was the thing for me. And then the local wine I made, because we didn't have a white wine in our portfolio, and I wanted to have a white wine. Just to kind of round it out to give, a good variety or something for everyone. But Maryland is also tricky in that, like selling to consumers, you have to have a certain amount of grapes sourced from here in Maryland. So that's kind of how we landed on the white wine. And then Viognier is one of my favorite whites. So I just said, okay, well, we'll go with that and see where it goes. And it was more challenging for me to make a white. I drink a lot of white now, but I am more of a red wine drinker. So I felt like it would have been easier for me to go with something that I really like, as opposed to something that, I don't drink as often. I would drink whites, but they had to be like a certain way. It had to be something I really liked or good to my palate. So I challenged myself to make that in the white wine. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So we had one person said they're signing up tonight for your wine club.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yes, yes. And we have another question that says, who do you imagine your ideal customer is? And what makes that person choose your wine?
Okay. So, we have, I
I
don't know
see
if we
we
can get
have.
both of them in the frame.
You
But
can move up a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
um, okay, he's gonna come back. The kids are coming. And they should be going to bed soon. But they so okay, wait, what was the question again?
Okay,
Oh, my
sure.
ideal.
Your
Sorry,
ideal
he
client.
came over here and I'm like,
Yes.
my idea. So for me, I had it drilled down initially. Women over 35 that enjoy a unique wine experience and more elevated and elegant wine experience. Um, Me personally, when I envision them, I envision someone that is working and, tirelessly hustling or doing whatever it is that they do in, whether it's business, career, and you come home and you want a good glass of wine. We are pushing or speaking more to this now, but you want a good glass of wine, but something where you can relax, you can breathe, you can exhale. So that person or that female, because that was just my avatar, as if you will. So 35 and over that enjoy a good glass of wine, but then also don't want the crash the next day. You have wine, sometimes you can wake up, you feel like, oh my god, why did I have that wine? That's not the case. That's the importance of not having the added sugar, not having the additives. So someone that appreciates that. And then for me, like, I literally was in here one day and I was trying to come up with some stuff for marketing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm my avatar. Like, these kids are screaming, and then they get on my nerves and they driving me crazy. And this is why I drink, and so I am that is the person as well. So the
Right.
parent, the mother who enjoys, relaxation after the kids and drove her crazy all day, or you're ripping and running, you school and then school working and activities and then you dinner and then you sit down and you just want to relax and that you want to relax with a glass of wine, you want to feel good. So that's my target audience. And I think now, we're honing in on why this wine is good for them. Imagine yourself coming home, relaxing, but you don't want a wine that, like I said, is going to make you feel. I used to, drink and a wine and my mouth will be like so dry in the morning, or I have a headache. I've had some people say they're allergic to like sulfites, and that's sulfur allergy is a thing. Like if you're allergic to sulfur,
Mhm.
that's one thing. But sometimes people don't realize, or they'll say red wine gives me a headache or white wine gives me a headache. It's more the
Mhm.
additives in the wine
Oh,
that's giving
okay.
you the headache. And it's not just so much a white wine or red wine thing. It's just,
Mhm.
what that brand added into their wines. So someone that appreciates having like a glass of wine, being able to relax, unwind, and not have the crash or harsh feeling or feeling weighed down later.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So I want to, before we end, I want to, if you have about 15 more minutes, we
Hmm.
just stay on. I wanted to ask you about being a Black owned business in this industry. Like, I know that there aren't many. So if you could give us, like, how is that being a Black owned business in this industry?
How much time you have? No, I'm just um it's not easy. Let me say that. It's not for the faint at heart. If this was not my passion, I know you talked about that. I think before I came on, just
Mhm.
how your days are full now, but it's more fulfilling. If this wasn't it, I would have gave up a long time ago. It's not built for us. Let me say that. Um, we weren't born with vineyards. We didn't inherit that. So we're coming into this space a little bit differently, whether that's private labeling. And there's so many avenues you can take with it. So I don't want to say something and, miss it. However, private labeling is, you purchase kind of like what I do with the Argentina wine. You purchase wine from a vineyard and you put your label on it.
Mhm.
You put your brand on it. Excuse me, but we're different in this space. Even winemakers, as winemakers, we're a little bit different as well because typically, as I said, we don't have a vineyard, so we're purchasing grapes or purchasing juice of grapes in order to make our wines. Uh,
Mhm.
so the laws are different for us. Some laws don't apply for us because we're different in this space. We don't have a vineyard. Not all of us have a tasting room.
Mhm.
And even as a woman, this is a male dominated industry. It's
Mhm.
less than 1% blacks in the industry.
Okay.
Women aren't even counted. Like there's no
Mhm.
number for women, right?
Wow.
Which just goes to show you how, prevalent it is. It is growing though. I will say that I know at least about 15 other women winemakers here, black, in the state of Maryland
Mhm.
um, alone, so that's just in this area. And then beyond, I do know of some as well. It's growing, but we're still not scratching the surface. And it's difficult. I will say that it is. But because I know this is where God has me, I'm
Mhm.
I'm willing to fight. I'm different in that and just in this, even in Maryland, because I have Argentina and Maryland. There are certain laws that don't want me to have this.
Right.
So I'm fighting for that right now.
All right.
So yeah, it's not easy at all. And I'm not trying to deter anyone. You
Mhm.
just have to be sure this is your calling. This is what, because it's not for the faint of heart. It will chew you up, spit you out, and keep it pushing. And I'm putting it lightly. So, like I said, my driving force is it's my passion. It is what I'm supposed to be doing. Sometimes I find myself like one day I did a TikTok video or I did a video. I don't even think I posted it on Instagram and Facebook, but um, I dropped my kids off. I went to the gas station to get gas, and I created this video asking people what was the first wine they ever drank,
Mhm.
and did they like it? And I gave my exam. And I was just after I did it, I was like, I must really like this. Like, why am I sitting here 8 o'clock in the morning doing? But when you're an entrepreneur, that's the things you do.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's day and night. It's sleepless nights sometimes, but it's my passion. I do enjoy it, and so I'm gonna keep fighting.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. So tell us, I know that you at Essence this past summer.
Hmm.
What are some of your upcoming events since the holidays are coming? There's Corey.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're gonna try. We're gonna try this time, unless the kids.
that's okay. We all understand. But what are some of your upcoming events? We want people to be able to support you about with things going on with the holidays coming and everything. Where can they see you in the next few weeks, or you have anything special coming up soon?
Nothing right now. We're taking a little break from a lot of the bigger events, only because we've been outside all summer, and I'm tired. But not only that, we're doing more tastings in liquor stores, and so in the retailers that we're in this area right now. As we have more events, we certainly will post that. So if you follow us on socials, we will post those events as we get. Not to say we won't be doing anything within this month or next month. We have had what we do center pocket paint and sip. We did that recently. We may be back there as well. That's a black owned billiards in Bowie, Maryland. So we'll probably do some more with them over the holidays. We are doing a tasting this Friday, actually. I don't think we posted that. 4 to 7 at Woodmore Town Center.
We
That's
saw
actually
that.
where
Awesome.
you were. Yeah. So
Yes, yes.
so Woodmore Wine and Spirits. So we're going to focus more on that right now. Just because the months are changing, outside of maybe some private things, but we are focusing on that just to kind of build that relationship too with the retailers. We are in some of these spaces, but you do have to, have a presence there. You have to go in. People need to see you, in order to know what your wine tastes like, because we can put the wine in the stores, but it doesn't mean people are going to buy it, because if they're
Yeah.
not familiar with it. So we're trying to hone in a little bit more during this time, in like the colder months, on those retail tastings and things like that. So yeah, so we're gonna post that
All right.
probably tomorrow. And then I'm sorry, what? Yes, I said that earlier. Yes, and again, the stores are on the website, so it is listed under where to buy. The stores we're in are listed on that website, But yeah, so trying to focus on more tasting there, so you can come and see us there. And if we're not in a store near you, go and ask them for
Mm.
it. You can't get the semi-sweet, from us, but it's in Woodmore. It's in the stores, so you can go to the stores and purchase it there, since we don't have it in stock, as well as our Cabernet. We don't have that in stock either. And that is in some of the stores as well.
Awesome, awesome. And so that is this Friday, November 14th.
Yes.
And what
4 to
time?
4 to 7
47.
p.m. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. At Woodmore Wines and Spirits, and that
Hmm.
is most people in DC area know that's over in Landover
Yes.
area, Landover, Maryland, and be able to go over there and get the wines because some of them, like I said, you all don't have in stock directly,
Yes.
but you be
But
able
they
to.
have it there. Yeah. Another one that's nearby in this area. Is L London's Fine Wine and Spirits. That's a newly open liquor store. It's next to the New Carolina Kitchen. It's part of their brand, Carolina Kitchen Sea and Soul on Martin Luther King. That's in Lanham, Maryland.
Okay,
So they have it as well. They have it. Hopefully they're not sold out yet, but they
well
had a
maybe
few the
after
last
people start
time.
listening, yes.
I
So the
know they had
holidays,
a, yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And then
So
Annapolis. It's in different stores, but if you have a question, because some of them do have certain wines, some of them have all the wines. And if you have a question, again, you can reach out, and I can let which stores on the website have, if you're looking for something that we don't have, so that have those specific wines.
Awesome. So make sure that you're listening, you're getting out there and stocking up for the holidays. You have
Yes.
Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. You have Christmas and New Year's. So make sure that you are stocking up on the wine.
Yes. And follow us, because we do have some exciting things coming up for the holidays that we'll be advertising. Of course, we have Black Friday specials, so if you're a little tight, I know some people are furloughed, and we got you, we working with you. But yeah, we have some other things I'm not going to say, but you have to follow us to find out, that are coming up as well.
Yes, so someone said, yes, it's the perfect time of the year. Yes. And that's just why we wanted to make sure that I had you on right now, so people can start to prepare and do these purchasing, because we know that usually this is the time of the year.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Purchase, a lot of their spirits.
Yes, and I will say, since I've had people ask me this, Thanksgiving, I am promoting the vineyard. It goes well because you have heavier dishes for Thanksgiving, which I'm not mad at. I'm actually looking forward to it. This wine goes very well with those dishes and some of those dishes that we have on Thanksgiving, because it is a lighter white wine. It's very easily drinkable. It's not super dry, more citrusy, very refreshing. But if you're wondering, what will go well with my Thanksgiving dinner, that is a suggestion. Yes.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind as I have guests of my family over that weekend. I'll make sure that I go a bottle of that as well. So we're going to close out soon, and just wanted to see if you had any final things you'd like to share before we get ready to end it for this evening.
Yes, well, as I said, definitely follow us on social media. Whatever we have going on, we post there. Thank you for putting the website up. Yes, and then we do have a weekly newsletter. We are so if you come to the website, please, sign up for our give us your email address and sign up for our newsletter. We do that at least weekly. Depending on what's going on, we may do an extra one some weeks, but we do at least one a week. We try not to flood y'all too much, but there are exclusives also coming up in the newsletter itself. So there will be, some things that will be exclusively released to those that receive our newsletter before it's released to the general public. So definitely want to get that. And then just keep following us, keep supporting, keep praying, keep pushing for us. As I said, if you don't see us in stores near you, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. And if they say, oh, what is that? You can tell them, oh, their website is this. A lot of times some stores, they want to see the demand, before they will allow us into their stores. So if you're asking, then that's a big help, for us. And we love it. They reach out, because then, then it means that they really have the audience, the people that want it. Just keep following us along as we continue to grow. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you, Sharon, for having us.
Thank you.
And especially now, prior to the holidays. Yes, absolutely.
You are welcome. And you have I think the person who said they placed their order and they signed up for your newsletter, they're shouting you out.
Thank you.
It says Wild Chappelle. I'm not sure what the actual name is, but that's what it says on here. But again,
I see. I didn't even see the comments at first.
Okay. But yeah, so again, thank you both so much for being able to maneuver around and get everything and be able to be here. We know that you are building that legacy, and part of that is making sure you're taking care of those children.
Yeah.
First. So I appreciate
absolutely. And thank you for your patience, and thank you everyone for your patience, because I know we came on a little later than we were supposed to. I forgot Roman didn't have basketball when we scheduled this initially. So yeah, we had to kind of pivot a little bit. But thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you, William Chappelle. We see you. I see you in the chat.
Yeah.
Chappelle just joined platinum. All right.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you.
thank
All
you.
right.
We appreciate that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone again for being online with us, and I will see you next month on the second Wednesday, where we're going to have Coach Terry, Coach Tara, and myself from Real Talk Coaching, and talking about what we're doing and being able to help you to explore and what you prepare for next year. So thanks everyone, and you have a great evening.
All
Thank
right. Thank
you.
you.
Bye
All right. Thank you for
bye.
having us.